Alice is working on Copperplate Script, and I've just noticed that she has a little bit of an issue with the width of the script. So I thought I would do a quick video because I think this is an issue lots of people have, or rather encounter. One of the principal things to remember about Copperplate Script is it is about narrow ovals. They fit into a very narrow parallelogram. In fact, the issue with the script is a lot of people think that the script cannot fit into such a narrow parallelogram, and so they naturally make it bigger because they feel that it needs to fit into a larger space. The other issue is a lot of people learning Copperplate Script have a very strong background in square pen work, and this square pen work generally works with larger ovals, whereas Copperplate Script is a very tight oval. So I'm going to look at these three majuscules, the D, the B, and the E, and show you how these ovals are so important. I'm just doing the same double the X height to produce the letter. So this is the line of universal beauty, which essentially is a straight line with two curved bits. This and this, these are the curves, that's the straight line. So essentially what you're doing is you're doing this plus that plus that. I'm going through this first because this is essentially the crux of the issue. Most people sort of do a wiggle. The wiggle is wrong. You want to stay along the axis of that 55-degree line, or 55.5 degrees, as some people use. Now, these three shapes look very different, but they have quite a lot in common. So I'm going to do this a little bit bigger now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Line of universal beauty. Down, along the baseline, up and over, very, very tight, very close, up and over and down and back. Now, do you see this? Do you see this? Do you see this? And do you see this? They are all along that axis. The other thing to remember is this will have some weight to it, and this will have some weight to it. This only needs a slight amount of weight. Now some people will go back and add a little bit of weight there, which doesn't really make the letter look written but drawn. But the other thing we have to consider is the axis of this oval inside here. And that axis is the same axial line as the axis of the script. We'll get back to that. B. Lower, up, there, and there. I tend to add a little bit of weight here. That's my heaviest stroke. And again we have axis of the oval, and all of these follow these axial lines. Even the dollop flourishing at the bottom of that. This is an issue because lots of people, and I'll just do this under here a little bit smaller, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. A lot of people do this. That's wrong. Reason why it's wrong is the highest point of this letter is here. The highest point is all of that. And this letter creates a triangle. This letter does not create a triangle. So where that is and where that is has to sit parallel to that line of universal beauty line as we see here. If you're doing this, chances are there are two issues with your writing. The first issue is you're not quite sure about the shape of the B, but more importantly, your pen might be at the wrong angle because you could never get pressure here and pressure here if the nib is facing there. And the E. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now notice I'm keeping a note of the lines that I'm working in. I've been doing this script for the better part of 25 years and I still keep this note. So if you think you could crack this script without keeping a note of the lines, then that's great. But I would suggest that you try and be consistent with keeping a note on where you're working. Otherwise, the script tends to fall apart. Don't forget you're working with a nib that produces a hairline that you can make up to 50 to 80 hairlines in a millimeter. So when you're working with something that fine, you really want to be quite accurate with the space that you're working in. Now the E, let's split this up so you can see how this works. Copperplate script works on thirds. 1, 2, you can make a little loop, 3 and 4. Now, weight, a little bit of weight, more weight, and more weight, and a little bit of weight there as well. What I always tell my students is, if you think of the D, and you think of the B in their Roman forms, and you think of the E, where's the weight? The weight's here, and the weight's here. The weight's here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. The weight's not there, and not there, and not there. So a little bit of weight there. This corresponds to these parts of the letter. And so that's what needs to be seen. Now, the ovals. Do you see how this oval has a straight axis? In Spencerian script, you can actually do a flat oval versus an angled oval. With Copperplate script, they generally tend to be flat. Let's look at the ovals. We have oval 1, we have oval 2, we have oval 3, and we have oval 4. With the B, we have oval 1, we have oval 2, we have oval 3, we have oval 4, we have oval 5, we have oval 6, and we have a bigger space that holds the letter. With the E, we have oval 1, we have oval 2, oval 3, oval 4, oval 5. And then, let's take that axial line. We have another oval that holds this whole letter in place. If you really wanted to look at this again, you could say, well, what about the C? Because of course the C is the E. So it's all about tight ovals and keeping the nib facing the direction of the script. So when the tines spread, 1, 2, 3, 4, what you end up with is, along that axial line, you end up with the tines spreading that way. I hope that helps.